In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use Tinkercad to make a chess pawn. And to do this, we are first going to make all of these components and then group them to form the final chess piece. And to start, we start out by making this first item right here by using the tube from our basic shapes. And the first thing we're going to do to this tube is change the bevel to 2. And we're going to change the height of the bevel to 5 by clicking right here on this middle dot. Or it's called a handle or box. Change that to 5. And the bevel gives us this nice tapered edge, but we actually don't want a bevel on the bottom near the work plane. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a box that is a hole. It sort of looks like an ice cube. We're going to put this box over here, and I'm going to resize it. Actually, I'm going to switch to top view. I'm going to resize the box by dragging one of the corners so that it's bigger than our tube. Now I'm going to go back to home, and we only need to take off 1 millimeter off of the bottom. So I'm going to change the size of this box that is a hole to 1 millimeter high. And now we're ready to group them. And before you can group any objects, you have to have 2 or more selected. So I'm going to use my mouse, which is the pointer, to click and not on them, but away from these objects. I'm going to click and drag around them, or as long as I'm touching both of them. But if I would start on here and click and drag, I'm going to move the box. If I would start on the tube and click and drag, I'm going to move the tube. So I have to be off of the objects I want to select, then I click and drag to select them, and now I can group them, it's called Union Group, which is new. It used to just be simply called Group, and Control G is the shortcut to activate that tool. So now when I group this, what I just did, and right now I'm orbiting, it's a 2-finger click, and then I can move my fingers and it'll orbit. I just cut off the bottom of that, and because this is the base of our chess piece, we're going to grab this black cone and pull it back down to the work plane. So I'm just moving it down 1 millimeter, the 1 millimeter we cut off. Okay, this piece is done. I'm going to click and move it out of the way. And you'll see that the rest of these pieces are hovering. When I'm done drawing them or making them, I'm going to raise them to the position where they need to be in the final chess piece. So next we're going to grab a torus, which looks like a blue donut. And we're going to change the height of this by clicking on, again, the center box or handle. We're going to change the height of our torus to 3, and we will make the diameter 17. So you have to change 2 numbers to change the diameter. And we're going to add a cone, which is purple, and it looks like a birthday hat. And the height of the cone is 6, and the diameter is 16. So I need to change both the width and the depth to 16 to change the diameter. And then we need to align these two so that they're centered over top of each other. So again, away from them, I'm going to click and drag to select them. And then I can use the Align tool or just press L on my keyboard. And we want them to both be centered over this line. And you don't need to click and turn it. I'm just showing you what's happening here. We want it to be centered over this line. We do not want to mess with these, which does the vertical alignment. Okay. We are going to manually drag the cone up, but we don't want to use one of these. So I'm just going to click off of it. I'm going to click on my cone, and we need to pull this up 2 millimeters. So I'm clicking on the black cone, and then we need to group this. Select it, select both objects, group it, and then we need to pull this up 3 millimeters, and I know this from going through the process before making this video, and I wrote down all these numbers. So now this shape has been drawn, and let me just show you where we're at with our chess piece. The base, the orange part, is down here, and the part we just drew, the blue part, is this one right here. The next thing we're going to do is make this section, which is drawn by making a ring or bringing in a ring. It's down here. And we need to modify this ring by changing the profile. And it doesn't really matter too much exactly what your profile looks like. It'd be great if you could make it similar to the one I have. What we're going to do is you can move these boxes, these handles, move those around, and then in addition to using them, we have these circles, and that allows us to change the shape as well. And we want it to look something like this. If yours doesn't look precisely like that, that is fine. That's just what I want it to look like for my chess piece. And let's see here. Okay. After changing the profile, we need to change the height of this ring to 2 and the diameter to 7. Nope, not 7, 12. Getting ahead of myself. The diameter is 12, and then we need to change the height, or the distance from the work plane. We need to move this up 7. So we're going to drag it up until it shows 7 right there. Okay, now we're done with our ring, and we're ready to do this piece. And we make that by starting out with a cylinder. We don't need to change anything here on the cylinder. And we're going to go grab another torus. This time, we're going to make it a hole instead of it being a solid. In addition to making it a hole, because we're going to use it to cut away material, I want you to change the radius to 5 and the tube to 5. And then we need to set the height to 45 and the diameter to 28. Make both of these bottom numbers 28. And one last step here is, and we actually have to grab this black cone to adjust the position vertically. We need to drag it down. We need to move it 2 millimeters below the work plane. And that's so that it gives us the right shape. So now I'm going to click and drag away from them, but then onto them so that they are both selected. I'm going to group them. Nope, not going to group them. I forgot to align them first, so I need to select them, align them. Again, center. We want them to centered over these bottom ones, and I missed my circle. Now I got it. And now, while it's still selected, we're ready to group it. Okay, takes care of the tower. Then we're back to the cone, and this cone is going to be a little bit smaller. It's the same height, I think, as the last one, but the diameter of this one is only 12. So let's make that. And we have to pull that up 18 millimeters off of the work plane. And then the last object we have is a sphere, which is just simply a ball. Looks like a blue ball. We will hold down the shift key and resize this so that it shows 10. And I'm having trouble. There we go. By holding down the shift key, it changed the height and both the depth, front to back, and the width to 10. So now it's a perfect sphere at 10 millimeter sphere. And we need to pull this up 20 millimeters. And the last step in forming the shape is just simply to select all of these pieces and align them along this line and this line so that they're all lined up on top, or they're all in the same position, centered this way. We don't want to do anything with these. And at this point, we can group it, or if you I should just go ahead and group it to show you what's going to happen. When we group it, it's going to take the color of whatever the first object drawn in the group was, which was this orange base. We can change the whole object to any solid color. It does not matter to me whether you have a solid or a multicolor pawn. I'm just showing you right here. You could make it any color. If you wanted it to be multiple colors, you first would have to click on multicolor. And then, actually, you're still not going to be able to change the color of each piece because it's grouped. So you have to go back and change the color before it was grouped. So here's what I mean by that. We're going to ungroup it. Now I can change these individual colors. So the base, I can make it, if I wanted to, I can make it black. And then I can make this next piece, I can make it yellow. And then I can make this ring, let's just say red. And I can make this tube green. And let's see, let's make this something a little brighter. Let's make it like a pink. And then we can make the ball on top orange. All right, and personally I think that's hideous, but I don't want to take any more time in this video changing it, so I just want to show you that we can still group it and maintain those colors by simply clicking on multicolor. So after an object's grouped, you can still have the colors of each original piece. You just have to change those colors before it's grouped, or ungroup it, change the colors. And you definitely want to keep it grouped when you're all done with it. And by the way, I'm going to change this to a solid color. Let's just make it gray. You want to keep it grouped so that you can click on it and drag it around. And also you should know that in the description of this video, you will see a link to another YouTube video that's actually the inspiration for making this. Or when I say inspiration, this is just a remake of another video by another YouTuber. And I had to make this one to elaborate or expand on some of the information or some of the steps needed to complete this chess pawn. But I'm linking to his channel and his video because he has a whole series on how to make all of the pieces, including the board. So you could make the entire chess set on your own if you wanted to.